Hey man, what is up, penis lickers? Welcome back. Hey, what is up, penis lickers? Today we will be reading his creepypasta, Jeff the Killer. It's because he wants something. It still exists. What the fuck is this? There we go. Hey, what is up, you stinky, silly children? Today we will be reading Jeff the Killer's scariest creepypasta ever exist. Yeah. Excerpt from a local newspaper. Ominous unknown killer is still at large. After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells his story.
I had a bad dream last night. I woke up, middle of it. I said, boy. I saw that for some reason, window was open. And even though I remember it being closed before I went to bed, I got up, said it once more. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers, tried to get back to sleep. That's when I had a strange feeling, like someone was watching me. I looked up and nearly jumped out of my bed. There in the little red light, illuminating from between my curtains, were a pair of two eyes. These weren't regular eyes, though. They were dark, ominous eyes. They were bordered in black and just plain out terrified me. That's when I saw his mouth. A long, horrendous smile that made every hair on my body stand up. The figure stood there watching me. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he said it. A simple phrase, but in a way only a madman could speak. He said, "Get to sleep." I let out a scream. That's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife aiming at my heart. He jumped on top of my bed. I fought back. I kicked, I punched, I rolled around and tried to knock him off me. That's when my dad's busted in. The man threw the knife and went into my daddy's shoulders. The man probably would have finished him off if one of the neighbors hadn't called the police. They drove him to the parking lot and ran towards the door. The man turned around and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash, like glass breaking. And as I came up my room, I saw the window that was pointing toward the back of my house was broken. I looked out to see if he vanished into the distance. I can tell you one thing, I will never forget that face. Those cold, evil eyes and psychotic smile. And I'll never leave my head. Police are still on the look for this man,
If you see anyone that fits the description of this story, please contact your local police department. Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighborhood. His dad's had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighborhoods. Jeff and his brother Lou couldn't complain, though. A new, better house? What was not to love? As they were getting unpacked, one of their brothers came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you." "Well, I just wanted to introduce myself and to introduce my son." She turns around and calls her son over. "Billy, these are our new neighbors." Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard. Welly, said Jeff's mom, "I am Margaret, and this is my husband Peter, and my two sons, Jeff and Lou." They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. Jeff and his brother were about to object when their mother said something. It was final. "Moms, why? Why would you do this to us? I'm not a dumb little kid." "Jeff," said his mother, "we just moved here. We should show that we want to spend time with our neighbors. Now we're going to that party, not that." Jeff started to talk, but stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whenever his mom said something, that was that, man. He walked up his room, plopped down in bed. He sat there looking at the ceiling when suddenly he got a weird feeling. Not so much a pain, but a weird feeling. He dismissed it as just some random feeling. He heard his mother call him down to get her stuff. He walked down and get it. Next day, Dad walked down there, get breakfast, got ready for school. As he sat there eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling. That one was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain, but he once again dismissed it as he and Lou finished breakfast. They walked down to the bus stop. They sat there waiting for the bus, and then all of a sudden some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. They both jumped back in surprise. "Hey, what the hell?" The kid landed and turned back to them. "Swagger!" He kicked his skateboard up and caught it with his hands. The kid seemed to be about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears an Aeropostale shirt and ripped blue jeans. What a bad boy. Wow. Looks like we got some new meat. Suddenly, 2 other kids appeared. One was super skinny, and the other was huge. "Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there's Keith." Jeff and Lou looked at the skinny kid. Had a dopey face you'd expect a sidekick to have. "And he's Troy." They looked over at the fat kid. "Talk about a tub of lard. This kid looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling." "And I," said the first kid, "I'm Randy. Now for all the kids in this neighborhood, there's a small prize for bus fare if you catch one draft." Lou stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes. When one of his friends pulled a knife on him. Test. I'd hope they'd be more cooperative, but I think we might do this the hard way. The kid walked up to Lou and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got that feeling again. Now it was truly strong, a burning sensation. He stood up, but Lou gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid. "Listen here, you little punk. Give back my bro's wallet or else." Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife. What? "Oh, and just as he finished the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it. Oh! Randy screaming deem. Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed to Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. Keith dropped the knife and fell to the ground screaming. Troy rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach. Ouch. And Troy went down for the count. As he fell, he puked all over. Bro, that's disgusting. Lou could do nothing but look in amazement and disgust and stinky at Jeff. Jeff, how did you? As that was all he said. They saw the bus coming and knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing that they did. So they started running as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. As Jeff and Lou made it to school, they didn't dare tell anyone what happened. All they did was sit and listen and do whatever happened. Lou just thought of that as his brother beating up a few kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary. Oh, since he got that feeling, the powerful one's voice to just hurt someone. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help but feel happy. He felt that strange feeling go away and stay away for the entire day of school. Even as he walked home, due to the whole thing near the bus stop, and how now he probably wouldn't be taking the bus anymore. He's unhappy. When he got home, his parents asked him how day was, and he said in a somewhat ominous voice, "It was a wonderful day, wunderbar." Next morning, he heard a knock at his front door. He walked down to find two coppers there. Mother looking back at him, quite stern. "Jeff, these coppers tell me that you straight up bust down and beat them 3 boys. And that it wasn't regular fighting, and that you cut them like a bitch." Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that he was indeed a bitch. "Ma, they were the ones who put the knives on me and Lou." "Son," said one of the cops, "we found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise on his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now what does that tell us?" "Yep, no news. You could say him and Lou have been attacked, but there's no proof it was not them who attacked them. Unlucky." They couldn't say that they weren't fleeing because, truth be told, there were a bunch of bitches who did. So Jeff couldn't defend himself or Lou or himself or Lou. "Son, call your brother down." Jeff couldn't legally do it, since it was him who beat up them big bang kids. "Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids." Lou tried to hold me back. He couldn't stop me. The cop looked at his partner and they both nod. "Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie." "Wait," says Liu. They all looked up to see him holding a knife. The officers pulled their guns and locked them on Lou. "It's me. I beat him up. Have the marks to prove it. Liver up your sleeve, reveal cuts, bruises, and bitch marks, as if he was a bit." "Son, put the knife down or we will shoot," said the officer. Lou held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. He put his hands up and walked over to the cops. "No, Lou, it was me." Jeff had tears running down his cum. "Poor dude. Trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, take me away, copper doodle." Police let Lou out of the patrol car. That's pretty cool. "Lou, tell them it was me. Tell them I'm the one who beat up them dang kids." Jeff's mother put her hands on his shoulder. "Jeff, please. You don't have to call. We know it's Lou. You can stop now." Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car sped off with Lou inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's Poppy G pulled into the driveway, byway, seeing Jeff's face and knowing something was amiss. Son, what is it? Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were strained from crying like a bitch. Instead, Jeff's Mommy G walked to his pops inside to break the bad news to him as Jeff wept in the bitch way. After an hour or so, Jeff walked back to the bitch house, saying that his parents were both a couple of bitches. He couldn't look at them. He couldn't see how they thought of Lou. It was his fault. He just went to sleep, trying to get the whole thing off his mind. 2 days went by. No word from the Lou at the GJJ.C. Juvenile Detective Company. No friends to hang with, nothing but sadness and guilt that he brought upon himself. That is until Saturday when Jeff is woke up by his mother with a happy, sunshiny bitch face. Jeff, it's today, she said as she opened the curtains and let light flood into his room. What's today? Asked Jeff. What, it's Billy's birthday party? He is now fully awake. Mother, you're joking. You don't expect me to go to some kid's party after. There was a long pause. Jeff, we both know what happened. I think this party could be the thing that brightens up past days. Get dressed. Jeff's mother walked out the room, get downstairs, get ready herself. Taught himself to get up. He picked out a random shirt, carried jeans. Oh, dude, crazy. What a twisted fucking psychopath. And walked downstairs. He saw his mother and father all dolled up. His mother in a dress and his father in a suit. I played the big boots. He thought, why they had to wear such fancy clothes to a kid's party? Son, is that all you're gonna wear? Said Jeff's tripped out mom. Better than wearing too much, he said, later. His mother pushed down the feeling to yell at him and point out that he had no bitches. Now, Jeff, we may be overdressed, but this is how you go if you want to make an impression, said his father. Jeff grumbled, dumbled, shambled, and went back up to his room. I don't have any fancy clothes, he yelled down. Bitchly. Just pick out something, called his mother. He looked around in his closet for what he would call fancy. Found a pair of black dress pants he had for special occasions and an undershirt. He couldn't find a shirt to go with it though. He looked around and found only striped and patterned shirts, none of which go with dress pants. Finally, he had found a white hoodie and put it on. You're wearing that? They both said. His mother looked at her watch. Oh no time to change. Let's go, she said as she herded Jeff and his father at the door. They crossed the street over to Barbara and Billy's house. They knocked the door and it appeared that Barbara, just like his parents, way overdressed. As they walked inside, all Jeff could see were adults. No kids, no bitches, no boys. Kids are out in the yard. Jeff, how about you go and meet some of them, said Barbara. Jeff walked outside to the yard full of kids, Jeffrey Epstein's delight. They were walking around in weird cowboy costumes and shooting each other with cap guns. While I was capping, he might as well be standing in a Toys R Us. Stupid. Suddenly, a kid came up to him and handed him a toy gun and said, "Hey, wanna play?" I said, "No, kid, I'm too old for this stuff." The kid looked at him with that weird, little stupid, fucking dumbass bitch puppy dog face. "Please?" "Fine," said Jeff. He put on the hat and started to pretend to shoot at the kids. And then he actually shot at the kids. He thought it was ridiculous, but it was fun. And it wasn't cool, but it was fun. And, Lou wasn't there, but it was fun. But, he heard a noise, though. And the little bitch trio, they rolled up Done did Eddie up over that gate, tell you what. Jeff dropped the gun and ripped off the hat. Randy looked at Jeff with a burning rage.
Hello, Jeff, is it?
He said,
Well, it's about finished business.
Jeff saw his bruised nose. I think we're even. I beat the crap out of you, and you get my brother sent to the juvie hall. Randy got an angry look in his eye and said,
Oh no, I don't ever even. I know it already. You may have kicked around in that one day, but not today.
As he said that, Randy rushed at Jeff, and they both fell to the ground. Randy punched Jeff in the noggin nose, and Jeff grabbed him by the ears and said, Monkey see, monkey don't, and headbutted him. Jeff pushed Randall off him, and they both rose to their feet, all thorny and shit. Kids screaming, and parents were running out the house. Troy and Keith both pulled real guns out of their pockets. No one interrupts our guts will fly, they said in the most bitterly way possible. Randy pulled a knife on Jeff and stabbed it into his shoulder. Lol. Jeff screamed and fell to his knees. Randy started kicking him in the face. After 3 kicks, Jeff grabs his foot and twists it, causing Randall to fall to the ground. Jeff stood up and walked towards the back door. Troy grabbed him. Need some help? He picks Jeff up by the back of the collar and throws him through the patio door. As Jeff tries to stand, he's knocked to the ground. Randy repeatedly starts kicking Jeff till he starts to cough up blood. What a bitch. Come on, Jeff, fight me! Fight me! He picks up Jeff and throws him in the kitchen. Randy sees a bottle of vodka on the counter and smashes the glass over Jeff's head. Fight! He throws Jeff back into the living room. Come on, Jeff, look at me. Jeff glances up, his face riddled with blood. I was the one who sent your brother to juvie. Now you're just gonna sit here and let him rot in there for a whole year? You're a bitch. Jeff starts to get up. Oh, finally, the bitch gets up to fight. Jeff now at his feet, blood and vodka all over his face. Once again, he get that strange feeling, that little perturbed feeling, one in which he hasn't felt for like 3 sentences. Finally, he's up, says Randy as he runs at Jeff. That's when it happens. Something inside Jeff snaps, probably his bones. His psyche is kind of gone. His rational thinking is a little offset. And all he can do is kill. So he grabs Randall and pile grabs him into the ground. He gets on top of him and punches him straight in his flipping heart, dude. The punch causes Randy's heart to cry and stop, and he dies like a bitch. Apparently, he starts gushing blood, but that doesn't really make sense considering the circumstances. Everyone looks at Jeff now. The parents, the crying kids, even Troy and Keith. Though they break from their gaze and point their guns at Jeff, Jeff sees the guns trained on him and runs for the stairs. As he runs, Troy and Keith let out fire on him, each shot missing because he's got plot armor. Jeff runs up the stairs. He hears Troy and Keith follow him from behind. As they let out their final rounds of bullets, Jeff ducks to the bathroom. He grabs the towel rack, rips it off the wall. Troy and Keith race in, knives ready. Troy swings his knife at Jeff and backs away and bangs the towel rack into his face. Troy goes down hard, and now all that's left is Keith. He's a little more agile and ducks when Jeff swings. He dropped the knife and grabbed Jeff by the neck, but instead of snapping him, he just pushes him into the wall. Ooh, what a bitch. A thing of bleach fell on them, though, because, they're kind of stupid. And it burnt them both, and they both started to scream, because Jesus Christ, could anyone else be a fucking bitch? They wiped their eyes, going like, he laid there, and then Keith's like, and smiled. It was like, what's so funny? Keith pulled out a lighter and was like, hey, what's funny is that you're covered in bleach and alcohol, and chemistry isn't real. Jeff's eyes widened at this revelation, and Keith threw a lighter at him. Once the flame made contact, he went whoosh, And Jeff was like, as he screeched. He then went downstairs like, ouchie, ouchie, ouch, and passed out in front of everyone. They were like, wow, fucking bitch, and called the cops. And Jeff woke, he had a cast wrapped around his cock. He was like, where am I? But, they were all like, you can't get out of bed yet, said the nurse as she put him back in, put the IV in his arm. And Jeff was like, this fucking sucks, and went to sleep. And then he heard his mom, and she was like, hey, yo, you okay, G? She asked. Jeff couldn't answer. His face was kind of covered. He was unable to speak. Oh, honey, I have great news. After the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed to trying to attack you, they decided to let Lou go. This made Jeff almost bolt up, stopping halfway, remembering the tube coming out of his arm. He'll be out by tomorrow. Then you'll both be again together. Jeff's mother hugs Jeff and says her goodbyes. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family and his now broken brother, traumatized by the ongoings of the JDC. Then came the day where the bandages were to be removed. His family were all there to see what he would look like. As the doctors unwrapped the bandages from Jeff's face, everyone was on the edge of their seats. They waited until the last bandage holding the cover of his face was almost removed. Let's hope for the best, said the doctor. He quickly pulls the cloth, letting the rest fall from Jeff's face. Jeff's mother screams at the sight of his face. Lou and Jeff's dad stare, awestruck. What happened to my face? Jeff said. He rushed to the bathroom and ran to the bedroom and ran to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. He looked in the mirror and saw the cause of distress, his face. It looked exactly like Michael Jackson. Jeff, said Lou, it's not that bad. Not that bad, said Jeff. I look like a molester. His family were equally surprised. Jeff started laughing uncontrollably. His parents noticed that his left eye and hand were twitching. Jeff, are you okay, dude? Okay, I've never felt more happy. Look at me. Hee hee. This face goes perfectly with my tendencies. He couldn't stop laughing. He stroked his face, feeling it, did a perfect pirouette, looked in the mirror. What caused this? Well, you may recall that when Jeff was fighting Randy, something in his mind kind of went a little cuckoo. Now he was left as a crazy killer and MJ impersonator. But his parents don't know. Doctor, said Jeff's mom, is my son, all right in the head? Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm a psychiatrist. Thank you, doctor. Jeff's mother went over to Jeff. Jeff, sweetie, it's time to go. Jeff looks away from the mirror. His face still formed into a crazy smile. Come with me, dearest. Oh. His mother took him by the shoulder and took him to get his clothes. This what came in, said a lady at the desk. Jeff's mom looked down to see the black dress pants, white hoodie, but clean, because this is the most bizarre place on the planet. And later that night, Jeff's mother woke to the sound coming from the bathroom. It sounded as if someone was crying, and she slowly walked over to see what it was. When she looked in the bathroom, she saw a horrendous sight. Jeff had imitated the exact dance of Thriller after carving a smile into his cheeks. Jeff, what the fuck are you doing? That's his mother. Jeff looked over to his mother. Hee hee, it's a killer Thriller tonight, Mummy, and I can't keep smiling forever, so I made it forever. Jeff's mother noticed his eyes were ringed in black. Jeff, your eyes. His eyes were seemingly never closing. I couldn't see my face, and they said Michael Jackson used to look like this, so I burnt them. So now I've got a new face, a new sexy style, and I'm back in black. I hit the sack. It's good to be back. Jeff's mother slowly started backing away, knowing that was AC/DC and not MJ. Something was wrong. He's gone insane. What's wrong, Mummy? Aren't I beautiful, you pretty young thing? Yes, son, she said. Yeah, you are. Let me beat it so I can go get Daddy, and he can see your face. She ran into the room and shook Jeff's dad from his sleep. Honey, get the gun. It's a killer Thriller tonight.
She stopped as she saw Jeff in the doorway, holding a knife. Mom, she lied. That's the last thing they hear as Jeff does a pirouette, a little kickflip, and stabs him. His brother Lou, though, kind of woke up and was like, Jesus fucking Christ, can you turn off the music? He went back to sleep, but, right when he was about to go, kind of feeling someone watching him. He looked up before Jeff's hand covered his mouth and slowly raised a knife ready to plunge it. Lou thrashed here and there, trying to escape Jeff's grip. Shh, Jeff said. Bustin' makes me feel good. And then he stabbed him. The story kind of sucked. It was kind of shit. I hope whoever made it feels bad, but, if they made something better, that'd be nice. I mean, the story's lame, stupid, dumb, and I think a little gay. But yeah.